Okay, everyone, let's concentrate on the class. Back translation. So it is a special form of translation where translation of a textbook is done back into the language of the original text without reference to the original text. Back translation is a translation of a translated textbook back into the language of the original text without reference to the original text. এটা কি বোঝা যাচ্ছে? Translated text, okay, will be translated in such a way it will back into the language of the original text. That means translated text and original text are similar, but there will be no reference to the original text. Okay, translated text and original text are similar. It wants to find a accuracy between translated textbook and original textbook, but there will be no reference of the original text. Comparison of a back translation with the original text is sometimes used as a check on the accuracy of the original translation. Comparison of a back translation with the original text is done to find out accuracy of the to check on the accuracy of the original translation. Back translated text and the original text is sometimes used why? As a check on the accuracy of the original translation. Original translation is justified through back translation. So, in the context of machine translation is called round trip translation. When back translation is done by machine translation, then it will be called a round trip translation. When translations are produced of material used in medical clinical trials, translation are done in medical clinical trials, then back translation is reviewed by a translation board. Translations are produced by material used in medical and clinical trials, then the back translation is reviewed by a medical review translation board. Okay. So again, students go through back translation. কিছু বুঝতে অসুবিধা হলে you can ask me. Back translation is a translation of a translated text back into the language of the original text without reference to the original text. Original text reference ছাড়া original text and translated text, whether the translation is done accurately, sophisticatedly, beautifully, that is just through back translation. Comparison of a back translation with the original text is used as a check on the accuracy of the original translation. So through back translation, what is done? It checks the accuracy of the original translation. In the context of machine translation, it is called round trip translation. Okay, when translations are produced in medical clinical trials, তখন কি হয়? A back translation is required by a review board. When translations are done in medical clinical trials, then a back translation is often reviewed by a medical review board. Okay. Next, Mark Twain as a back translator. Mark Twain is he? Okay. He is also a dramatist and also a novelist, and also he is a translator. Okay. Mark Twain used back translation. What he used? He also used back translation where of a short story. He made back translation formula in translation form of a short story. The story name is The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Cavalier's Country. He published his back translation in a 1903 volume together with his English language original. He also made French translation and a private history of the Jumping Frog story. So, Mark Twain used back translation of a short story. Mark Twain used back translation for a short story. He published his back translation in 1903. Published his back translation in a 1903 volume with the English language original. He published his back translation in 1903 volume with his English language original, the French translation, and a private history of the Jumping Frog story. Three category of back translation he did. Okay. Then it included a short adaptation. It also included a short adaptation of the uh, story in a Professor Sedgwick's Greek composition under the title The Athenian and the Frog. আবার বলছি, he published his book, that is translation, he published his back translation in a 1903 volume. 1903 volume with the English language original. The English language original, the French translation, and the private history of the Jumping Frog story. Okay. So the Jumping Frog story included, what it included? A short adaptation of the story in a Professor Sedgwick's Greek prose composition under the title The Athenian and the Frog. Next paragraph, when a historic document survives only in translation, the original text gets lost. When a historic document survives only in translation, then the original text has been lost. Then, when the historians suspect that a document is actually a translation from another language, back translation into the hypothetical original language can provide supporting evidence by showing that idioms, puns, grammatical structure are derived from the original language. When a historic document survives only in translation, the original gets lost. Similarly, when historians suspect that a document is actually a translated from another language, that is back translation into the hypothetical original language can provide supporting evidence showing that what? Showing that idioms, puns, grammatical structures are derived from the original language. Similarly, some view that, okay, some also say that the Christian New Testament, some say that Christian New Testament were in Aramaic language. The Christian New Testament was originally written in Aramaic language. Aramaic means special kind of language which is closer to Arabic and Greek. New Testament was translated in back translation into Aramaic language. Okay, where it wants to prove that the difficult passages of the Greek text of the New Testament can be easily understood, whereas the same topics that are mentioned in Aramaic translated form are more critical than Greek translated form of New Testament. Okay? আবারও বলছি মার্ক টুয়াইন।
ম্যাম, একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল, সেটা হচ্ছে আমাদের যে আপকামিং ওয়েডনেসডেতে যে এক্সামটা হওয়ার কথা ছিল, এটা কি তাহলে নেক্সট ওয়েডনেসডে হচ্ছে?
হ্যাঁ, your
ঠিক আছে।
seniors requested me that you have another 3 exams same day. It is a pressure for you, so I took the acceptance of their request, and inshallah month April there will be class test based on the short questions, 10 short questions. Before that, I will give you for midterm broad question. Maybe, perhaps, maybe not. The midterm will be in the written exam. Offline exam will take place. Okay.
ওকে ম্যাম।
Next Thursday there will be a makeup class, and 13th March's class will be taken 18th of April.
ওকে ম্যাম, তাহলে হচ্ছে যে লাস্ট হচ্ছে যে 24 তারিখের মেকআপ ক্লাসটা ছিল, এটা নেক্সট থার্সডেতে 5টায় হবে, তাই না ম্যাম?
হ্যাঁ,
ওকে, ঠিক আছে ম্যাম।
আচ্ছা, মার্ক টুয়াইনটার থেকে বের করে মার্ক টুয়াইন who he was used back translation for his short story. He published his back translation in 1903 volume together with his English language original, the French translation, and a private history of the Jumping Fox story. It included adaptation. Adaptation মানে কি? What does it mean? Adjustment. It included adaptation of the story, okay, from Professor Sadwick's Greek prose composition under the title The Athenian and the Frog. The new name ছিল Greek The Athenian and the Frog. When historic document survives only in translation, it lost the originality. Okay? Original gets lost. When historians suspect that a document is actually translated from another language, back translation into the hypothetical original language, it can provide supporting evidence showing that idioms, puns, grammatical structures are derived from the original language. Some view that the Christian New Testament were originally written in the Aramaic language, but difficult passages of the Greek text of the New Testament are more understandable to the readers than the same topic in the Aramaic language form of New Testament. বোঝা গেছে? যে গ্রিক ট্রান্সলেশনে যে টপিকটা
Yes, ma'am.
বোঝা যদিও কঠিন ছিল, এটা বোঝা যায় অ্যারামিক ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজের ট্রান্সলেটেড ফর্ম অফ দ্য সেম টপিক, এটা বোঝা যায় না, though it was in the back translated form. Okay, so আজকের ক্লাস এতটুকুই। নেক্সট ওয়েডনেসডে কম্পিউটার ট্রান্সলেটরটা আমরা পড়বো উইক 4, তো ইট ইজ রানিং। আচ্ছা, আমরা একই কম্পিউটার ট্রান্সলেটর we will study in different way. There is another sheet is given, role of a translator. এটা তোমাদের কোশ্চেন আকারে আছে। Okay, it is an interesting thing that the translator is largely ignored or invisible while making translation. Okay, it is an interesting thing that the translation is ignored or is invisible in the debates that center around translation. The concept of invisible translator was first proposed by a prominent translation studies scholar, Lawrence Venuti. He defines what is called invisible translator. So, all of us are familiar with the name of Tolstoy. We all know about Tolstoy, but we don't know, okay, that he was a great translator. We can read his text, his theme, but we don't know about his style and written form of the language. We don't know what form was there. Okay, source language, what was it? We don't know. We only blindly study his translated books. Venuti is of the view that Venuti আরো কি বলেছেন? Is of the view that the primary quality that is valued in a translation is fluency, so that target language readers never feel that they are reading a foreign text. So in making translation, there should be fluency. Okay, so that target language readers will not understand that it is a foreign text. Next, language readers never feel they are reading foreign text. The translator sees to it the text is transparent. Okay, text should be transparent and reads well and idiomatically. The translator should find the text transparent and they can read well and follow the text idiomatically. Idioms they can follow and they can understand the hidden view of the writer. This creation an illusion of the translation being an original text. পাঠকের মনে একটা ভ্রান্ত ধারণা তৈরি হবে যে they are reading a original text, but it is not an original text. Venuti puts it, the more fluent the translation, the more invisible the translator is. যত fluency grow করবে, okay, then translation will be more fluent. More fluent the translation, the more invisible is the translator. The translator কে খুঁজেই পাওয়া যাবে না, পাওয়া যাবে লেখককে। The more fluent the translation is, the more fluent the translation, the more invisible is the translator too. ট্রান্সলেটরটা ইনভিজিবল হয়ে যাবে, এটাকে বোঝাই যাবে না যে এটা ট্রান্সলেশন করা হয়েছে। The perception of a good translator, okay, good translator is that it reads easily, fluently, and making the reader forget that what they are reading is a translation. This is the reason why This is the reason why when we read Sharat Chandra Chatterjee as a Hindu writer or Sundara Ramaswamy who writes in Tamil as a Malayalam writer. তাহলে কি Sharat Chandra is specially Bengali prose writer, but he also translated Hindi books. Sundara Ramaswamy is a Tamil writer, but he also made Tamil books translated to Malayalam. So we forget about the original writer. When we read the books, we forget about translator. Rather, we think the books are original. The books are written by original writers. So at the end, we can conclude that after reading Sharat Chandra Hindi books and Ramayashama's Malayalam books, we can understand that those books are written in translated form. Here, the translators are invisible. Okay. So, Venuti is attempting to bring the hidden translator to light. Okay, through these references. Through these references, we want to focus. We want to say that some translators can also become invisible. We don't feel about the translators, but we feel about the original writer. We forget about translation. Okay, that is the role of a translator. He remains invisible. Okay, Aliki, the role of translator, it is an interesting thing that the translator is ignored or is invisible. The ignored or is invisible. Okay, that center on translation. Okay. The concept of the invisible translator was first referred by a great translation study scholar, Lawrence Venuti. We all of us are familiar with the name of Tolstoy, but we don't know him as a translator. Venuti is of the view that the prime quality that is valued in translation is fluency. Okay. So that the readers can understand of target language, readers never feel that what they are reading is in foreign language text. It is in foreign language text. The translator sees to it that the text should be transparent and it reads well and idiomatically it should be written. This creates an illusion of the translation that it is on original text. Translated books to পড়ার সময় it comes in our mind then it is written in original form. Okay. Venuti puts it, the more fluent the translation, the more invisible is the translator. Okay. The perception of a good translation is that it reads easily and fluently, making the reader forget that what they are reading is a translation. This is the reason we would think of Sharat Chandra Chatterjee as a Hindi writer, Sundara Ramaswamy who writes in Tamil as a Malayalam writer. Venuti is attempting to bring the hidden translators to light. After this discussion, Hello, what is a good translation? Okay. Venuti tries to illustrate how the similarity in the original is the most important quality of a translator. The similarity to the original is the most attribute of a translation. The translated words should have similarity with the original text. Okay.
জি ম্যাম। ম্যাম হচ্ছে কি মানে একটা টেক্সট যখন আমরা পড়ছিলাম বা পড়ছি, তখন যদি ম্যাম সাথে সাথে একটু মানে কিছুটা যদি বাংলায় একটু বুঝিয়ে দেওয়া যেত, তাহলে ম্যাম কনসেপ্টটা আমাদের কাছে ক্লিয়ার হতো। কেননা হচ্ছে কিছু কিছু ওয়ার্ড মিনিং হয়তো আমরা জানি না, তো সেক্ষেত্রে বুঝতে একটু মানে কষ্ট হয়ে যাচ্ছে। তো যদি একটু
সব
পাশাপাশি
সব ওয়ার্ডের আবার
বাংলায়।
বাংলাও হয় না। গুড ট্রান্সলেটর ভেনুতি কি বলেছে? Okay, that Venuti says that illustrates. Illustrate মানে ব্যাখ্যা করেছে। Okay, এই যে illustrates how the similarity অরিজিনাল টেক্সটের সাথে যে মিল আছে সেটাই ট্রান্সলেটরের কাজ। অরিজিনাল টেক্সট এবং ট্রান্সলেটেড টেক্সট both should be similar. এই কাজটাই করে কি ট্রান্সলেটর। Okay, he examines book reviews of translation that were published by leading book review করে না, যে গল্প,
জি ম্যাম।
হ্যাঁ এটাও ওয়ান কাইন্ড অফ ট্রান্সলেশন, যেটা ছাপানো হয় কোথায়, নিউজ পেপার আর ম্যাগাজিনে। Book reviews of translations were published by leading newspapers and magazines. Okay, and it is pleasantly fluent and not quite idiomatic. লেখাটা স্বতঃস্ফূর্ত হতে হবে, যে বাগধারা অথবা ইডিয়মস ফ্রেজ ওটার ওয়ার্ড ফর ওয়ার্ড ইউজ না করলেও চলে, বরঞ্চ ফ্লুয়েন্টলি যা আসে সেটাই লিখে ফেলা উচিত। ওকে,
জি ম্যাম।
তো এটাই বলেছে কি, that is the quality of the translator needs to be enjoyable and fluent, not quite idiomatic. enjoyable হতে হবে, should be enjoyable and fluent, not quite idiomatic. ইডিয়মের একদম আক্ষরিক ওয়ার্ডই বসাতে হবে, not necessary. Okay. The quality of the translation should be pleasantly fluently and not quite idiomatic. What constitutes a good translation is the language that is modern with vocabulary. vocabularyটা modern হতে হবে, modern language that is commonly used by the people. commonly used language তাকে কি বলে, lingua franca. Okay, so next যে কথাটা বললো, that one is translator should use fluently pleasant language based on modern vocabulary that should be commonly used by the people. Common use language সেটা ব্যবহার করতে হবে। ওকে, তারপর চলে গেছে, with the advancement of scientific research clear and accurate translation from other language become very important. Scientific research জন্য clear and accurate translation is very important. The commercial interest of advertising. Advertising is also one kind of translation. Okay, we use the words in Bengali or in other languages. So its main work is to publicize the product. And without good translation, there will be no publicity of the product. Transparent translations are crucial in this field. Translation should be very easy, very clear. Venuti says that the Anglo-American world highlights on fluency and in ease since the 18th century. American world is a translation culture that comes from fluency and ease, স্বতঃস্ফূর্ততা এবং সহজ বোধ থেকে, যেটা চলে এসেছিল 18th century। তারপর চলে যাচ্ছি the distinguishes features of Tolstoy's themes. We know the distinguishing features of Tolstoy's themes, war and crime, Anna Karenina, সেগুলি টলস্টয়ের বই, এগুলি স্টোরিগুলি জানি। But we don't know the distinguishing features of language or style. আমরা ওটা জানি না। But never we could understand the distinguishing মানে উল্লেখযোগ্য নিয়ামক of language or style আমরা টলস্টয়ের ওটা পড়ি না। But we know about the theme of Tolstoy's novels. But we don't know that these are all translated from. Next, Venuti quotes a British translator, J.M. Cohen, তার সম্পর্কে বলেছেন, he was completely obsessed about fluency. Fluency নিয়ে সে খুব obsessed, সে খুব মোহাবিষ্ট। He says that translators have generally concentrated on close meaning and interpretation and neglected the imitation to form and manner. The form and manner টাকে তারা neglect করে। This is the result of too much domestication of the translation. Domestication মানে কি? That is writer, the translator think about this translation should focus on author to the reader. Authorটাকে should go to the level, author's writing should go to the level of the readers. High pitch of words তৈরি করবে না, সহজবোধ্য ওয়ার্ড তৈরি করবে, যার ফলে রাইটার যেটা লিখবে সেটা লেখকের কাছাকাছি, লেখকের কাছে আবেদন তৈরি করবে, এমন জিনিস লিখবে না যেটা লেখক বুঝে না। এটাকে বলেছে ডোমেস্টিকেশন। পার্ট অফ দ্য ট্রান্সলেটর এটা বুঝতে হবে, ডোমেস্টিকেশন। তার ট্রান্সলেশন এমনভাবে করতে হবে যাতে তার রাইটিংটা হবে ফ্রম অথর টু দ্য রিডার, অথরের লেখা যেন রিডারের কাছাকাছি যায়, তার লেভেলের কাছাকাছি যায়। Domestication is sometimes so effective that the work done by the translator to domesticate it is rendered invisible. এবং domestication করার সময় এমন হয়ে যায় the author become transparent whereas the translator becomes invisible. এটাই তো role of a translator is become hidden or invisible. এটাই তো শুরু হয়েছিল, তাই না? So that is done in Tolstoy's writing, and he did it perfectly. Okay. আজকে পড়া এতটুকুই, এখন আমরা চলে যাচ্ছি কোয়েশ্চেন আনসার। ঠিক আছে, হোয়াট ইজ ট্রান্সলেশন, এটা এতটুকু লিখলেই হবে ফার্স্ট প্যারা।